Section 0 of a Traveller's Narrative, written to illustrate the episode of the Bab. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Nicholas James Bridgewater. A Traveller's Narrative, written to illustrate the episode of the Bab by Abdul Baha Abbas, translated by Edward Granville Browne. Introduction by Edward Granville Browne. This book is the history of a proscribed and persecuted sect, written by one of themselves. After suffering in silence for nigh upon half a century, they at length find voice to tell their tale and offer their apology. Of this voice I am the interpreter. So many Persian works of universally acknowledged and incontrovertible merit remain unpublished, not only in Europe, but in the East, that one who offers to the public, as the result of his study and labour, the translation and text of a quite recent compilation, whereof the authorship must remain unknown, and which must therefore rely solely on whatever intrinsic interest and merit it may possess, may reasonably be expected to state the considerations which have led him to select for publication such a work. This book is, as I have said, recent in composition, for, as appears from a passage which will be found on page 67, it was written probably during the year 1886. It is also anonymous. This could not well be otherwise, for what Persian could, with ordinary prudence, acknowledge a work written in defence of a faith whereof the name is scarce mentioned in Persia without fear and trembling? So that these two things, which some might incline to account grave defects in the book, and reasons against its publication, are in truth inherent in its very nature and character. It is of quite modern origin, because it treats of a recent movement, of which the first beginnings are remembered by many still living. It is anonymous, because every promoter of that movement is, in the country which gave it birth, as a man, "sitting beneath a sword suspended by a single hair, who knoweth not when it shall descend upon him, whether it shall descend instantly or after a while." If, then, the subject treated of in this book be of sufficient interest and importance to merit careful study, and if the book itself, notwithstanding our ignorance of its authorship, can be shown to proceed from a trustworthy source, I am sufficiently justified in having decided to edit and translate this Traveller's Narrative. Now it appears to me that the history of the Bábí movement must be interesting in different ways to others besides those who are directly engaged in the study of Persian. To the student of religious thought it will afford no little matter for reflection, for here he may contemplate such personalities as by lapse of time pass into heroes and demigods still unobscured by myth and fable. He may examine by the light of concurrent and independent testimony one of those strange outbursts of enthusiasm, faith, fervent devotion and indomitable heroism, or fanaticism if you will, which we are accustomed to associate with the earlier history of the human race. He may witness, in a word, the birth of a faith which may not impossibly win a place amidst the great religions of the world. To the ethnologist also it may yield food for thought as to the character of a people who, stigmatized as they often have been as selfish, mercenary, avaricious, egotistical, sordid and cowardly, are yet capable of exhibiting, under the influence of a strong religious impulse, a degree of devotion, disinterestedness, generosity, unselfishness, nobility and courage, which may be paralleled in history but can scarcely be surpassed. To the politician, too, the matter is not devoid of importance, for what changes may not be effected in a country now reckoned almost as a cipher in the balance of national forces by a religion capable of evoking so mighty a spirit? Let those who know what Muhammad made the Arabs consider well what the Bab may yet make the Persians. But to myself, and I believe to most others who have been or shall be brought to consider this matter, the paramount interest thereof lies in this, that here is something, whether wise or unwise, whether tending towards the amelioration of mankind or the reverse, which seem to many hundreds, if not thousands, of our fellow creatures worth suffering and dying for, and which, on this ground alone, must be accounted worthy of our most attentive study. End of section 0.